First in high definition from the station on your side, this is WAVY News 10.
Start with breaking news in California.
And that's where police are questioning a suspect in a deadly university shooting. Police say at least 6 people died in this morning's attack during a nursing class at Oikos University in East Oakland.
3 others were wounded, and authorities say that suspected gunman is a student. Police arrested him at a nearby shopping center.
Now, this is a breaking news story. We will pass along any new information as it comes into the WAVY newsroom.
Meantime, Governor McDonald is thinking about delaying tolls at the Midtown and downtown tunnels.
10 on your side reported on the possibility on Friday.
And right now there's a fundraiser going on to help pay legal fees to fight that public-private partnership that will implement the tolls.
10 on your side's Andy Fox has more now.
My concern was simply, was it legal?
That was on March 12th. Attorney Patrick McSweeney meeting with hundreds of concerned residents who were about to join a huge cause.
It brought a lot of attention to how earnest we were in our fight.
Portsmouth business owner Charles Greenhood joined the fight to hire McSweeney to challenge the public-private partnership that would put tolls on the downtown and midtown tunnels.
And there's a tremendous burden, I can tell you, because this will not be a victory won easily.
The legal fundraiser at the mansion is designed to raise legal money and send a message.
Our elected representatives know we're not kidding around now. This is not an issue that they can just sweep under the carpet and say, give a little smirk.
McSweeney and Greenhood and 100 others will argue the unelected people of the partnership between VDOT and the Elizabeth River crossings cannot raise tolls on the people because it is a tax, they will argue.
The General Assembly cannot give away, cannot delegate, cannot part with its pure legislative function of raising taxes. If taxes are going to be raised, the General Assembly has to do it.
McSweeney has won that argument before the state Supreme Court, and Greenhood is betting the future that McSweeney will win it again.
Well, most of our business comes from the other side of the water. So I became very concerned 10 years ago, longer than 14 years ago, 1998. And I saw, when they mentioned tolls, that this is just going to be a terrible disaster.
And this is Charles Greenhood right here, and I'm going to give you some news. Last week, you were watching our report, and the governor and Sean Connaughton, who's the Secretary of Transportation, said that they would support.
Oh, a little bit of technical difficulties there with Andy Fox. Now, you can see all of our extensive coverage on the toll proposal. Just log on to WAVY.com. You can see a timeline of what it took to put the tolls into action and how much it will cost you.
And now from our reported at WAVY.com file, these photos come from a viewer. A sailboat is aground near First Landing State Park in Virginia Beach, and we sent Chopper 10 pilot John Massey up to have a look right now. And John, was anyone on board when this happened?
Indeed, there was. The captain was on board when he initially made the call early this morning at 7:30 a.m. that he had run soft aground. What that means is he's on a sandbar right now, and he was unable to maintain anchorship overnight due to the winds out of the north and the surf, as you can see, hitting the boat right there. But where we're located is just off of Fort Story, right by the campground near Cape Henry. And you can see the boat right now is tied off to the shoreline. Good news is the captain was the only person on board the Fulfillment, which is registered out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and no reports of any injuries there. He was assisted to shore by the MERT team out of Virginia Beach Fire and Rescue, where he was checked out and released. Now, it will be up to the captain to arrange salvage of this ship, but I would imagine they're going to wait until a little bit calmer waters before they attempt to do that. But right now it is anchored solidly to the shoreline, not causing any navigational problems whatsoever. Reporting live above Fort Story, I'm John Massey, 10 on your side.
In 2008, he stabbed a fellow high school classmate to death. Now Robert Barnes wants to get out of prison. Barnes was 17 when he pleaded guilty to killing Megan Landowski. In a plea agreement, the court sentenced the teen to 42 years behind bars. But in a petition recently filed with Portsmouth courts, Barnes claims unfair treatment and poor defense by his attorneys. He now wants the opportunity to have a full trial.
I think it is a last-ditch effort on his part. Probably the reality of sitting in the penitentiary for the next 40 years, if you live that long, has set in.
10 on Your Side has a copy of Barnes' petition. Tonight at 6, we'll show you his claims, and you'll hear if Fort Smith's Commonwealth's attorney thinks Barnes will have his day in court again.
He once worked for the sheriff's office, but this morning he found himself in front of a judge. James Rivers is accused of sexual battery of Norfolk jail inmates. 10 on Your Side's Ava Hurdle talked with Rivers' attorney following his arraignment.
Last week, inmate Marion Fuller talked with 10 on Your Side about a sexual battery allegation involving James Rivers from the jail.
Then he said, come here, I'm not going to hurt you. And then he reached through the bars with his right hand and grabbed the back of my jumper. And then he reached in with his left hand and went up and smacked my private area.
Rivers, who served as director of inmate programs, has declined comment, but his attorney, Bruce Sam, says his client denies he did anything wrong.
I do think that the person has motives that, in my opinion, would be more of a vindictive nature because of his likelihood that he would be put out of a program that he was in.
Since Fuller's claim, 2 other inmates have filed charges, which Sams is now looking into. In Norfolk, Ava Hurdle, 10 on Your Side.
If convicted, Rivers could face up to a year in jail on each of the 3 charges. He has resigned from the sheriff's office. James Rivers is also listed as president of the Norfolk chapter of the NAACP.
A woman says she was sexually assaulted on a beach on the Eastern Shore. Now police are searching for the suspect. This is a composite sketch of the man the 20-year-old victim says attacked her on Cape Charles Beach at around 6:30 p.m. on March 23rd. Cape Charles Police and the Northampton County Sheriff's Office are investigating. Newport News police are still investigating the discovery of a suspected mobile meth lab at Christopher Newport University. Officers took evidence from a room at Wilson Residence Hall Friday night. They also searched a car in the parking lot. 10 on Your Side talked to CNU students today. Hear what they have to say about the investigation tonight at 6. Today, a grand jury indicted a popular seafood restaurant owner. New at 5:30. Find out why the owner of Captain George's in Virginia Beach faces charges. And
check this out, a huge bee swarm outside of a Portsmouth house. What would you do if this was in your backyard? Coming up, we'll tell you why your first instinct might be wrong and what you should do.
Hidden fees with rental car companies can really add up. We're on your side with ways to avoid those extra charges.
And our wind has played a big role in our weather for today, but that wind is going to drop on down, and the temperature is going to drop on down as well. Northerly winds right now. What's ahead? Find out with our forecast.
You're watching WAVY News 10 at 5 with Tom Shad, Nicole Ribas, and Super Doppler 10 Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
Strip searches are legal for people arrested for minor crimes. The Supreme Court says so. It ruled 5-4 against the New Jersey man who complained that strip searches at 2 county jails violated his civil rights. Police arrested him over an unpaid fine. The majority sided with security needs over privacy.
A 10 on Your Side consumer alert. A fire hazard is behind the recall of thousands of toy trucks. The Big Movers supercar trucks came with Big Movers t-shirts sold at Kohl's stores and online in February and March. When you put the batteries in the truck, the toy may smolder. One fire was reported. If your child has one of these toy trucks, take the batteries out and take them away from them. Contact the company. You'll find that information on WAVY.com.
Budget air carrier AirTran did the best job of flying passengers with the least hassle. That's from a report compiled by Wichita State and Purdue Universities. The ratings are based on data on lost bags, delayed flights, bumpings from full flights, and consumer complaints. Hawaiian and JetBlue fared the same as last year. Number 2 and 3, Frontier and Alaska round out the top 5.
Many of you are planning spring break and summer getaways, but you're probably not planning on hidden fees with your rental car. But you can avoid some of them. Experts say don't go with GPS or satellite radio. That'll save you about $20 a day. Another easily avoided fee is the CDW, or collision damage waiver. Your regular car insurance generally covers insurance on the rental. Your credit card will usually cover the gaps. The newest fee some companies charge has to do with gassing up before returning.
If you fill up on your own on the way back, you have to have a receipt from a gas station that's within 10 miles of the office where you rented the car. And if not, you're going to get hit with a fee.
Also, be careful about returning your rental car too early. There's now a fee for that.
Car concerns, the kind that you buy. The potential hazard the government's investigating involves two different types of vehicles.
Take a look at this backyard bee swarm in Portsmouth. What would you do if this popped up on your property? Find out why the wrong answer could cost you.
We continue to follow breaking news in California.
That's where police say a gunman opened fire at a Christian university in Oakland, killing 6 people. Investigators say that suspect is now in custody.
3 other people were wounded in this morning's shooting at Oikos University, and the founder of the school says that he was in his office and heard about 30 gunshots.
An injured victim says the gunman was in her nursing class, who got up and he shot one person at point-blank range in the chest before spraying the room with bullets. Look for any new developments on this breaking story out of Oakland, California, on air and online at WAVY.com. Well, we got a call today from a viewer with an unusual problem.
She had what she thought to be a huge beehive in her yard. 10 on your side, Stephanie Harris went to go check it out.
Yeah, Nicole and Tom, check this out right here. This is what the caller had in her backyard in Portsmouth. It turns out that this huge thing right here is not a beehive, but just bees on top of bees, about a foot deep. Now, your instinct might be to just kill all these bees here, but if you do that, you could one day pay the price at the grocery store.
From a distance, it's hard to make out this big black blob, but come closer.
No, I was afraid to come out.
And you'll see why Vontrice Rogers called 10 on your side.
I love honey. Actually, my sister-in-law calls me the queen bee.
But this queen bee prefers to get hers at the supermarket. She didn't want to kill the bees, knowing that their population's at risk, but she didn't know what else to do.
Some communities, you kill honeybees, you go to jail.
Oh,
that's how valuable it is.
We called in beekeeper Haji Hogerson.
This is about the worst place for them to swarm. And all these branches.
He's been busier than usual this spring. The warm winter created more swarms earlier and some bigger than usual.
This thing is huge, about the size of a basketball. It's actually a bee swarm. There are thousands, 15,000 probably bees up here, but look, I can put my hand almost right on top of them and they don't even bother me.
I can take my bare hands and scoop these bees off and shake them down into the bucket. If you do it gently enough and just scoop them off, that's how docile they are.
But for this big job, he's pulling out a big vacuum.
If you do it with a regular vacuum, you'll kill them.
As soon as they're all sucked into this bucket, he'll take them home to his hive, where they can thrive. And Vontrice can go back to being the only queen bee in the neighborhood.
I'm glad there's somebody that can save our bees. And I got some honey, too.
Now, Hogerson says that killing bees is bad for 2 reasons. One, if you try to spray them, you're not going to get all of them, and the ones that do survive will be mean and aggressive. And number 2, honeybees, they pollinate about 1/3 of the foods that we eat, things like apples and strawberries, and fewer bees could mean fewer plants get pollinated, and you could pay more at the grocery store. Stephanie Harris, 10 on your side.
I have never seen someone use a vacuum cleaner before. Tidewater Beekeepers Association offer free honeybee swarm collecting as a public service, and if you need their help, go to WAVY.com for a link to their page.
A little brisk out there, but yeah, I don't think I would want to try to touch those bees at all now.
I'm just saying, I'm still getting over watching, you know, that man put his hands in
there.
And
we
Don
all had
saying,
the same reaction, right?
Yeah, what's the problem, Don?
Yeah, well, my dad used to keep bees, and swarms are common this time of year because the queen isn't performing, and they go out in search of a new queen and create a new queen, but they have no reason to be defensive. So you can, and I've done it before too in my younger days, take a big scoop of them and kind of and just toss them into a new hive, and you got a brand new beehive. So beekeepers actually like them because they get free bees out of it. Here's what's going on right now. Super Dapper 10 Live. There's no rainfall, so we want to take a look at our skies. We have to look a little bit closer, real close to see it, and it's right here. There's the moon right there. You can barely see it, just a speck, and we'll watch the moon rise. And again, you'll be able to see what's going on in the water as well as we set this into motion. You can barely see the thing moving. Anyway, it's gone, and the moon is up a little bit higher into the sky. Skies are clear as a bell, and temperatures have maintained into the cool side, especially anywhere near the water today. 58 degrees all afternoon long.
along in Norfolk, and pretty close to the same in Virginia Beach. A little warmer in Newport News with 63 degrees, but again, a cool, rather breezy day, and those winds are going to drop on down, but the temperatures are going to drop with that. Now 63 as we saw right now in Newport News, 58 degrees in Norfolk, 59 degrees into Virginia Beach. Our low early this morning, 54, but the high was earlier in the morning, 65 degrees at midnight last night. So again, very, very mild last night, but obviously cooler during the day today. A little warmer into Suffolk right now, 64, 61 at Chesapeake, 57 degrees into Hampton. Winds are still a bit gusty. They'll drop on down gradually during the evening hours. Still be a little gusty right at the water's edge. Still 22, 25, 30 miles an hour at Melfa. Closer, a little bit farther inland, around 15 to 20 miles an hour. But as I mentioned, those winds are going to drop on down. But temperatures are going to drop on down as well. We've got upper 50s and low 60s, a few mid 60s in some areas inland. Our low temperatures early this morning, well, we'll compare them with what we expect tomorrow morning. Very, very chilly. 36, 37, 45 degrees. If you've got some plants out already and they're on the back deck or whatever and they're susceptible to cold, doesn't look likely to freeze, but again, if they're susceptible to mid-30s inland areas, you really want to watch what goes on with that. Light northerly winds later on at 10 miles an hour, 36 to around 41 degrees. Again, anywhere near the water's edge, it's going to be a few degrees warmer overnight, but we've really kind of leading off with that part of the forecast. Usually we don't concentrate on overnight, but the fact that the temperature is really going to drop, again, we're going to see very, very chilly temperatures overnight. Here's where we are at 9 o'clock. Winds drop on off to about 10 miles an hour. Light and variable, 10-mile-an-hour winds out of the north to start the day tomorrow. Middle of the day tomorrow, lots of sunshine. Winds starting to flip around tomorrow night and really flip around as we see some warm air re-enter the area by Wednesday. It'll be warmer tomorrow, but a lot warmer coming up by Wednesday. It'll be in the upper 70s, perhaps near 80 degrees. And then at the end of the day, it all changes again as a cool front drops on through with some rain at the end of the day on Wednesday. Now tomorrow, again, today it's only into the upper 50s, around 60 degrees for most of us. Tomorrow warmer, 68 degrees, lots of sunshine. Definitely warmer on Wednesday, but there's that chance of rain late in the day. Right back down again on Thursday. Definitely cooler by Friday, 59, 64, close to normal by this coming Saturday, and then low 70s for Sunday and Monday.
Whether you've been driving for 5 years or 50, you might be doing something wrong behind the wheel. We're on your side with new driving standards and what's fueling them.
Then nobody in Hampton Roads had the winning Mega Millions ticket, but local schools will see some of that money. They may have come out winners in this. Find out how much each district could get. That's new at 5:30.
You've probably been told to think of the steering wheel as a clock and put your hands on 10 and 2. Well, now that's considered a dangerous position. The Traffic Safety Administration says when the airbag deploys, it will send your hands and arms into your face. Safety experts now say you should hold the wheel in a 9 and 3 position on the outside of the airbag, and you shouldn't grip it. Instead, hold the steering wheel with your fingertips, with your thumbs pointed up.
You can minimize the loss of potential fingers, hands, or serious injuries to the face. Why not do that? When you're on the outside of the steering wheel like this, the airbag deploys, so it's coming up and out, and your hands are on the outside.
Another new piece of advice from safety experts: you're no longer supposed to cross your arms when you turn the wheel. No more of that hand-over-hand style. Instead, use one hand to push the wheel up and the other to pull it down.
Fear of fire. The federal government's investigating vehicles from 2 different automakers. 2 owners contacted the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration about engine fires in their 2011 Chevy Cruzes. The fire started as the cars moved. There are also 8 reports of fires in 2010 Jeep Wranglers. Most of them also started while the vehicles were moving. No one was hurt, but both automakers, Chevy and Chrysler, say they are cooperating with the investigations. Tense moments for hundreds of cruise ship passengers, and they involved a couple from Virginia Beach when flames filled the engine room. You're going to see video from moments after the fire.
Then a tractor-trailer got dangerously close to a guardrail on an icy mountain road. Once he started going, he wasn't going alone. That story new at 5:30.
A narrow escape for a couple from Virginia Beach. They spent a day in pirate-infested waters halfway around the world on a disabled cruise ship. An Azamara quest made it back to port safely in Malaysia.
Dear guest, this is your captain from the navigation bridge. I must ask you all, please proceed to your muster station. We need you in the muster station so we can count that everybody is present.
Fire in the engine room prompted that announcement from the captain Friday night while the ship was off the coast of the Philippines. An amateur video shows passengers wearing life jackets on board. Dorothy and James Wood, the parents of Virginia Beach City Councilman Jim Wood. And Jim said his mother kept him updated through text messages and Facebook. 5 crew members suffered smoke inhalation. The Azamara quest is part of the Royal Caribbean Cruises. All guests are receiving a full refund. And you might remember back in January, another Virginia Beach couple survived a cruise ship emergency. Rick Langlands and Karen Kennedy were aboard the Costa Concordia when it ran aground off the coast of Italy. The captain is charged with causing the wreck, manslaughter, and abandoning ship. Tonight at 5:30, a grand jury indicts a popular restaurant owner.